What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Sunday Reset here on Forward Progress, presented by Fanduel. I'm Rob Pizzola, live a little bit earlier tonight, midway through the fourth quarter of Sunday Night Football here, but it is a complete blowout. Seahawks up 38-7 right now, so figured let's get an early start and maybe an early bedtime for me as well. It's been a pretty hectic few days here, and I'm kind of running on fumes, but by now, if you're tuning in, you know the drill. This is part recap show, part no pun intended, I guess, forward progress, forward looking type of show we're going to zoom out on today. We'll call out whatever surprises there were, what we nailed, what we missed, key coaching calls, injuries, all the stuff that shaped this week in the NFL. Then we're going to flip it forward like we usually do. We'll run through the Week 10 openers at FanDuel, give our thoughts on every single game, and talk through where we expect the market to go. Maybe what we like, what we would lock in now, where we think games will close. And of course, we do this so that you have a sharp, digestible reset waiting on Monday morning. If you're watching live here, hit like so many people find this when they wake up on Monday. Subscribe, turn on notifications, all that stuff. If you're listening after the fact in audio form, please rate and review 5 stars if you like what you hear. All right, let's get into it. Joining me tonight is my good friend, my partner in crime, Clive Bixby. How are things?
Hey, things are good. Probably got a little more sleep than you did last night. Feeling for my Toronto people and all the Don Mattingly fans that are still kind of hoping Donnie Baseball was going to get a ring. That was not going to lie, painful.
It was tough to be there in attendance. And it hasn't been a great weekend for me personally. I was at both Game 6 and Game 7 of the World Series. I had a losing day today, although it's going to end well with the Seahawks winning here. So it softens the blow a little bit. As you know, we'll get through it, but we're starting the show. Jaden Daniels, pretty ugly injury as it stands there. That's going to affect a lot of stuff in the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, we literally never do this show early, right? Like this is the first time that we've done it with like more than 2 minutes left in the game, and that's what happens. That looked really, really bad.
Yeah, looked not great. So that's potentially a season ender right there. And we'll talk through next week's games a little bit later on. But Clive, yeah, for me, a very, I guess an emotional roller coaster of a day, because I keep saying that I'm waiting for that catastrophic day. I thought today was going to be it. It was a lot of highs and lows. I think the most unfortunate thing for me today is my biggest bets lost, which was unfortunate. So I look at my spreadsheet. I see a good mix of wins and losses. I think honestly 500 pretty much on sides and totals, but take a loss because just the big bets didn't come through. And we're going to relive some of these here. Let's start with the Colts and Steelers, because
Sure.
I think that's the game I missed on the most. I'm pretty high on the Colts. It's a weird box score, right? Like it's one of those weird games where you look at it from afar and you're like, Pittsburgh did nothing in this game, but they didn't have to do anything because the Colts had 6 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do in that scenario, right? Like, I think if they play this game over again, like it's about as bad as it could have went for Daniel Jones today. And I think it's the first time he's been really kind of truly tested. I think Denver overall has a better defense than what Pittsburgh does, but they were able to get pressure, and he just looked like he was holding the ball a little too long. Maybe he didn't like some of the looks he was seeing, and he just got out of rhythm, and he never got in it.
It felt like, I hate to say it because it's only one game, but it felt a little bit like old Daniel Jones, and
Oh,
also like old Steelers defense as well. It kind of came out of nowhere where, there was just a lot of pressure in the game. And I mean, they succumbed to it. I mean, I just look at it. I mean, if you're looking at the box score, the Colts offense, 368 total yards, 51% success rate. I mean, they went 5 of 5 on 4th down, a little bit lucky there, but it seemed every drive was undone by some self-inflicted mistakes. Then you look at Pittsburgh, 3.7 yards per play, negative EPA per play on offense. They rushed for only 38 yards in total, yet they were just a comfortable wire-to-wire winner. And it's tough. It's challenging.
41% success rate, and they were never in any danger.
I know. And this is a challenging one in terms of like, what are the takeaways from this? Because we've seen Pittsburgh's defense perform at this level from a pressure rate standpoint, right? And being able to get after the quarterback in the past. And this year hasn't been there. Has it flipped? I don't know, honestly. So this is going to be going into next week. The Steelers are going to they have a road game at the Chargers. Indy's playing in Germany in the early game. And it's really tough to know what to make of this game, honestly.
This is one I'll have to kind of watch back and see what I see. Like, did they do something sustainable that other defenses will be able to mimic when Daniel Jones is playing, on the other side? I really don't know. It's just really, I mean, Pittsburgh offense is still as bad as I think it is. Just don't know what to make of the Colts right now.
Yeah, I will say I'm going to watch this game back. I thought Indy in the early going had a pretty good game plan where they showed like a lot of pressure at the line of scrimmage. They made it seem like they were blitzing, but they immediately dropped guys into coverage right away and took away a lot of the short throws for Rodgers that have been working for the majority of the year. I wonder if we're going to start to see teams kind of mimic that going forwards, because I thought the Colts did a good job of taking away like the first look for Rodgers.
Yeah, and that's been, I mean, like his ADOT today was still under 3 yards a throw. And I guess one of the things I'm curious about too is, and I think this came up on Pizza Buffet earlier, did the surface have anything to do with like the Colts and their offense in terms of getting open, anything like that in terms of speed? I didn't watch that closely enough to notice that, but when somebody mentioned it earlier, it did kind of ring an alarm bell. Like, that's something to really think about.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I can't remember all the turnovers off the top of my head. And, I'm watching multiple games at once. I do remember one where Jones threw it out to the left side and one of the defensive ends knocked it in the air across to the other defensive end.
Yeah.
Which I was like, man, this is the most Steelers thing that ever happened. But we'll see. We'll see if the Colts are for real, because this is the first time that, we saw kind of a chink in the armor there. One game where I played side and total and I got them both right was Bears and Bengals. Now, didn't get great number on the close on the over because of the Joe Flacco throwing arm, although this was never in doubt. Like, this was a wire-to-wire over. But the Bears side was in doubt. What a crazy ending to the game. Like, the Bears led comfortably in the fourth, and then a defensive collapse. They blow the onside kick. I mean, it turns what's basically a blowout into them possibly losing the game. Then they complete a pass over the middle of the field to Colston Loveland. He breaks a bunch of tackles. Like, there is just zero defense to be found with either of these teams right now.
No, that was a circus. That was, I'll be honest, it was really fun to watch. And they're playing the Giants next week at home. And both of the games that we picked this week or last week rather, were 2 overs. It was Bears Bengals and it was Giants 49ers.
Right.
Giants can't stop shit. Bears can't stop shit. So one of those things that maybe we look at an over when we get to that game. But it was really bad. And I'll say this, even with no Trey on the Bengals side of the ball, Caleb Williams like runs himself into pressure.
Yes.
A lot.
He does. He definitely does this, and I'm glad you brought it up because I noticed it today as well. He's sitting in the pocket. The pocket is clean. He did the Tony Romo spin move like a half dozen times today to and it worked. But it's like you don't have pressure.
He's the worst defense out there.
Like, I know. But like there's just no. It wasn't facing pressure. He didn't need to do these things. No. It's crazy, man. It really is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, like, I don't think I learned anything from this game. A lot of Flacco's production was padded when they were like chasing the game. Like, half of his EPA came on 2 late touchdown drives. The Bears were playing really soft there. I guess I take away that the Bengals are terrible and the Bears are slightly less terrible.
That's really kind of it. And the Bears have so many fraudulent wins, and it's just kind of ridiculous. I'm not saying they didn't. What's the right way to say this? They dominated the box score, and then they just collapsed.
Yep, totally. Today was a day for underdogs. A lot of the underdogs ended up coming through. Don't know the exact ATS record off the top of my head. I don't keep track of it, but it just subjectively, I'm trying to think of favorites that covered, and it was few and far between. But there was 2 underdogs, pretty big underdogs, that ended up winning outright. Minnesota goes and knocks off the Detroit Lions. I don't know that many people saw that coming. And the Carolina Panthers go to Lambeau and they beat Green Bay. I'm going to start with that one first because former colleague of ours, Eric Eager, was actually down on the sideline for this game. And I got to say,
keep wearing the hat.
Listen, congratulations to the Panthers. I think this is like one of the most misleading. Not that Green Bay ever was deserving of covering this game, because it wasn't. This is like a wire-to-wire cover. Carolina, 12.5-point underdog. But the Packers moved the ball fairly consistently. They just kept stalling every single time they got in scoring range. They finished 1 for 5 in the red zone. They settled for 2 short field goals. It just felt like a kind of like a misleading Panthers defensive performance in this game.
Yeah, let's I don't mean this to be a backhanded compliment, but the Packers have the ability to play down to teams. Like, they don't put teams away that they should.
Yeah.
I don't know what to put my finger on with Jordan Love, because he could be efficient. He'll have the occasional, like, someone unplugged his controller moment, but other than that, like, they were able to move the ball down the field. They couldn't run the ball today. I mean, they had terrible early rush EPA, but I was shocked that there was only 13 points put up and they were trailing late.
Yeah. A couple comments in the chat. Colt said that's because LaFleur doesn't trust Love. Possibly. Durso said it last week, hate laying big numbers with that team. Andrew Thomas, 0 playmakers. So they lost playmakers in this game.
Yeah.
I had a lot of player props, especially the ones I gave out on Pizza Buffet this morning that were decided by injuries. I gave out 6 props, and 3 of them, one of them was an over on Samaje Perine rush yards. He gets hurt on the first carry of the game. Under on Tucker Kraft, looks like an ACL injury, unfortunately for Tucker Kraft. Christian Watson got hurt as well. Aaron Banks on the O-line, although he's not like a stud O-lineman or anything like that. But that certainly didn't help. And yeah, I mean, Carolina just like run heavy, mistake free, opportunistic off turnovers. The Packers play calling, super conservative, right? Just like not a lot downfield today. And the one that was downfield was really a bad ball into like triple coverage. Yeah, it just felt like one of those games.
I wonder if it's like from a coaching standpoint, because we've seen them let Love air it out before. Is this like a playing not to lose as opposed to just trying to put up points and just being super conservative? Like, hey, we'll get there. And then, oh shit, it's now the fourth quarter. We have to turn it on. Like, I don't understand. I didn't understand the game plan as I saw it either.
Neither do I, because like LaFleur can scheme good offense. That's what, like, he can scheme guys open. We saw this last week in particular, and I guess it's been very inconsistent for the Packers this year. There's a pretty wide range on what they could bring on a weekly basis, but LaFleur's done this for a long time now. And Philly on Monday night next week. So we'll be interested to see what the game plan looks like there as we break that one down later on. Minnesota, that defense looked completely revitalized with Van Ginkel back. They held the Lions running game in check, which is very hard to do. They sacked Goff 5 times. It helped that pretty much like every O-lineman for Detroit was going down mid-game at some point or another. Like they lost their left tackle at some point in the game. Penei Sewell got poked in the eye. They lost their right tackle. A couple on the interior as well. It was pretty messy for them. But, this is the Lions offense at home. There's not many teams that go in there and limit the production as much as Minnesota did today. I was very, very impressed with that defensive game plan.
Well, and Goff has had success against Minnesota and Flores in the past. So it's not like this is just something like, God, Minnesota and Flores, they just consistently own Goff. That's not really the case. And I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, JJ McCarthy was the quarterback of the winning team today, but I don't know that he was a winning quarterback.
I love that you bring that up. So I had pretty much nothing going on in this game. Very little. I had no reason to have it on the screen. I was following along in real time. On red zone, every single time they cut to McCarthy, looked like he was making a great throw or using his legs to be elusive, avoid a sack. So I figured this guy had a great game because everything I saw, and then I looked at the box score and I'm like, ooh, I mean, this isn't kind of 14 of 25, 143 yards, very modest stat line. He managed the game. He avoided like any killer mistakes, which you got to do against the Lions as well. But it doesn't scream great game to me.
And even the touchdown that he threw to Justin Jefferson, I'll be honest, I didn't really think that was a good throw. That was just really a great play on the ball by Justin Jefferson.
Amazing.
Like, I mean, I didn't see anything that was promising other than he didn't do anything ridiculously stupid.
Yeah, I mean, there's like kind of a inside joke going on. I don't want to say inside joke. A lot of people know about it, but there's Willie the Beak Man on Twitter, Beak, that gets into it with Kirk Evans from our network. Kirk mostly a basketball bettor, but he's branched off into football this year. And Kirk was high on JJ McCarthy going into the season. So Beak has been tweeting me every week, being like, "When is Kirk getting fired for this take?" And I was kind of going to go back at him today. Then I looked at the box score and I'm like, maybe this is, maybe this is just, maybe he's not good. I don't really know what to make of it so far, but I mean, surprising outcome. I got to say, I had a very like small numbers edge on Minnesota. I never played it this week. Some other guys had the stones to actually play it. But ultimately Detroit 1 for 3 in the red zone. They had a field goal blocked as well in this game. And it seemed like all the things that always go right for the Lions at home, they just all went wrong today. And I'm a little bit concerned about that team. I am.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's just one of those games. I mean, they obviously need their offensive line healthy and being able to run the ball with Gibbs and Montgomery. Like, if that's not on the table, that's a big problem for them because Goff's really not going to beat you with his arm alone if you don't have the threat of the run.
Yep.
It wasn't a good look. Maybe knock him down a tick in terms of, power rating, so to speak, but I don't know much more to do than that.
Yep. Let's get on to some games. So I'm very process driven. I think you are as well, Clive. I think I had a lot of good reads today that just didn't go my way. One of them being the Houston Texans. I bet Houston had some good numbers relative to what they closed to. They led 12-7 midway through the game until CJ Stroud got concussed. Looked like a bad concussion. He was out on the field for a little bit. After that, the offense completely collapses. Davis Mills finishes with no touchdowns, negative 0.21 EPA per play, 137 yards on 30 attempts. They go to the red zone 3 times. He can't convert. I like Houston's defense did its job here. That's a kind of exactly what the handicap was.
Mm-hmm.
And that it was just, I was expecting Stroud and I didn't get it like that. I just don't know what else I can do in that situation. I just feel like I got unlucky there. I don't know if you disagree with me, but I feel like the offense was, moderately successful with Stroud under center today.
Yeah. So we've talked about this. I think you mentioned it last week. Like, it's fun to win a game when the market moves against you and you actually have enough conviction for it. So one of the unders I played today, I actually played on Sunday, and it was this game.
Yep.
And I did not get the best number because the market continued to steam even after I bet it. I wanted Stroud to play the whole game to see if we'd get a little bit of vindication if I was right or not, and the way that the game would be coached. And Bo Nix, I think he sucks.
Yep.
So from that half, I think I was on the right side of it. I mean, the over was never really a threat, but I would have liked to have seen what Stroud would have done the rest of the game to see if I was right. But I mean, like, Houston's serious conversion rate for the game was under 50%. Denver's was under 60. I mean, it was just a very not a good offensive fun game to watch.
Completely agree. Such a slog. Ricky Puck says, I mean, that was 2 different games with CJ in and with Mills in. With CJ in, Houston's offense was averaging 5.6 yards per play. After he left, that number was below 3 yards per play. So, I mean,
it matters. Yeah. I mean, there's a big difference between Mills and Stroud. I don't love Stroud as a quarterback just in general, but he wasn't playing poorly before he got knocked out.
Yep. Another game totally chaps my ass, but you know what? I got to say, fuck, I hate losing this one, but undoubtedly the Chargers were the right side against the Titans today. I mean, undoubtedly complete domination, start to finish, doubled them in first downs, 21-10. The Titans offense was a no-show again, 4.2 yards per play. They had one drive that went longer than 40 yards. There are 20
we didn't
points
even get fourth quarter Cam today.
Yeah, like, but this final score is 27-20. The 20 points that they scored were a 98-yard punt return touchdown and a pick six off Herbert, and then a late field goal. By the way, nice of Mike McCoy this week to kick a late field goal to cover a spread. Like, I needed him to do that last week for an over. The Chargers lose both starting tackles mid-game. Left tackle, Joe Alt, another high ankle sprain. They lose their right tackle. Mekhi Becton was a late scratch. And they still dominated the game, like 58% success rate. They move the ball at will. It sucks to lose those. I'm moving on and just saying that was absolutely the right side in the game, and there's nothing more I can do. Sometimes just randomness plays a factor.
Yeah, you don't expect when the success rate is 58% to 34% that it's a one touchdown game. You just don't. Cam Ward has been awful. Herbert, other than the pick six, was good. The offense looked fine, and flukish.
Yep. What are you going to do? I just hate losing those ones.
They're terrible.
I really do. I know. At least, listen, chat. I love the chat for this show. I'm glad we don't have anyone in here that was like, the Chargers were the square play. All the public was on the Chargers. I mean, if you just take this box score and run it through some sort of model of expected points, you would get more often than not the Chargers winning this game by like 3 touchdowns. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. Also, in the early window, this one was one we got right. We talked about it earlier. San Fran and the Giants played the over last Sunday. I played actually more over midweek as well. Both these defenses are a challenge right now. But San Fran just moved it way more consistently on offense. I felt like they had a really good game plan. They ran the ball effectively. Their offense basically never stalled in this game, regardless of the situation. And I know it took a lot of points to go over in the fourth quarter of this game, but it was a pretty high offense game. And my opinion of these teams is just not really affected moving forwards. I think the Giants are quite bad. And the more we see of Jackson Dart, kind of the worse it's getting, I think, for them as well.
Yeah, and San Francisco, I'm kind of interested between them, Seattle, see what happens for the rest of like the NFC West, because San Francisco's got a pretty soft schedule the rest of the way, for the most part.
Yeah.
Their toughest games, they have the Rams, they're at Indy, and they're home against Seattle week 18, but the rest, they should be pretty significant favorites if I'm not mistaken. I'm waiting to hear the Mac Jones is just as good as Brock Purdy thing, because when I watch, I still don't see that.
He's got a decent arm. He can listen. I think Purdy's better than Mac Jones. I don't buy that that Jones is better. I think the drop off though is probably more minimal than I would have thought earlier in the year. Mac Jones, I think
the floor is lower on Mac Jones personally, like in terms of like bad decisions, turnovers, fumbles, bad picks. Not that Brock Purdy never does that, but I think the frequency just increases though with Mac Jones. But Mac Jones is doing what he's being asked to do right now without fucking it up.
Yep, 100%. Another big defensive line injury for the 49ers today as well. I mean, they're just really racking up injuries on the D-line that are killing them going forwards. And at this point, Clive, I mean, I think everyone in the network knows I played a lot of 49ers futures this year. I would love an outcome where they exceed their win total, make the playoffs. I just don't view this as they've had so many injuries on the D-line. Fred Warner in the linebacking core. I just don't think this is going to be their year. Like ultimately, the Rams and Seahawks, in my opinion, are just much more complete teams in the NFC West right now.
Yeah, they are. I'm really looking forward to the Rams Seahawks in a couple weeks. That actually might be a fade spot for Seattle for me, but we'll see.
Yep.
2 weeks out.
Patriots Falcons was the last game in the early window. And this one was an interesting one because I honestly thought at one point that New England was just going to rout Atlanta. They looked very comfortable. And then a single turnover changed the entire flow of the game. It was Drake May's fumble before the half. It was 21-7 for New England. And they were going to try to go down the field and score before the half. Drake May fumbled. It got punched out. And then Atlanta scores before the half instead. and kind of changed the game. Drake London was amazing today, like incredible catches, 11 catches, 140 yards, 3 touchdowns. He basically had like half of Atlanta's total yardage today. I think this score is like a little bit misleading, but ultimately at the end of the day, New England's offense kind of cratered in the second half.
Yeah, well, I think it's misleading because Drake London was, to your point, kind of like a cheat code today. No matter what you threw to him, he came down with it, and that was really it. They had no running game at all, Atlanta today, none, and it was the Drake London show. I didn't watch a ton of the first half.
Yep.
So did Drake May before that fumble, in your opinion, look good, average, normal Drake May?
I thought this was a below average Drake May game from what I watched, which is still an above average anyone else game, in my opinion. I didn't think Drake May played his best.
Sacked a bunch.
Yes. Yeah. I think he took 6 sacks today. I mean, listen, I was on Pizza Buffet this morning and full disclosure, I crossed a little bit. I had some Patriots from earlier in the week at good numbers. And then it was deciding today whether or not I was going to add. And I ultimately didn't because everyone that was questionable on the Falcons defense, including Jesse Bates and Jalen Walker, ended up playing. And, getting those guys back or like having them in the lineup made a big difference. They made some decent adjustments. I mean, after the Patriots' first 4 or 5 drives, they really did nothing for the remainder of the game. I found that a little bit concerning.
Yeah, makes sense. It's something to watch. I just don't know if anybody's making any adjustments. I mean, his highlight reel and his good throws are still amazing. It's just, I kind of have to watch the full game back today to see if there was anything that was exploitable. I kind of think if you had the Pats today, you probably had the right side.
It's close. I think it was probably. I wouldn't have been comfortable with anything. I listen. I played some over in that game too. We talked a little bit about that on Thursday best bets. Kind of came down to the wire there. It looked like it was going to be an easy winner, but no. May to me is still like he's an unreal player. Yeah, I mean that was just an interesting game. Hard to read what that should have been. KC Buffalo was a big loss for me today. I bet a bunch of Chiefs. They actually started really sharp. They looked good in the early going. And then I guess from the second quarter onward, that Buffalo defense actually got a lot of pressure. I mean, that's been the MO for them all season long. The rookie Maxwell Hairston at corner looked really good today. And Buffalo was, I mean, listen, I'll just own it. Like I'm not big on the Bills, but you get more data points as they come in. And I mean, Josh Allen was amazing today. 23 of 26, 273. They targeted their tight ends downfield a lot, a couple rushing scores, 0.43 EPA per play. I mean, just a pretty dominant performance by the Bills today, Clive.
This was a Josh Allen A+ game, in my opinion. I think one of the things that I was super concerned with was the injuries on the Buffalo side that with Casey's offense being humming the way that they are, I thought they'd be okay. I thought this would be a little bit more of a shootout. And, in all honesty, I don't think Mahomes looked great today. This was one of his, lower quartile kind of games that he doesn't have many of them, but he had one today. I mean, the interception was basically an arm punt at the end, in the middle of the fourth. It wasn't that, but it wasn't sharp. And Josh Allen, they were a very efficient offense today.
Yep. I think
James Cook is so good.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they had a really good balance today. I thought that it was normally I watch the Bills and it's pretty easy for me to guess what they're going to do. And today I didn't feel that way. I thought they had a really good balance. KC's O-line definitely didn't hold up. And, the Bills are moving edge rushers all over the place. I mean, you don't see this. Like KC on third down today was 3 of 13. You just really rarely see that. And also like 21-10 late in the second half. Late in the second quarter. Casey's got the ball at the goal line.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
They kicked the field goal at the end of the half. Like, I understand that you lose some of the benefit of going for it there.
Yep.
Because the time's going to run out. The play doesn't
You don't
matter.
get the field position advantage if you don't. Yeah.
Exactly. But from what I had seen over the course of that game, I don't think that was the right call, to be completely honest with you.
I don't think so either. Kelsey looked like he got a little banged up on the throw right beforehand. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Like, if anybody had heard, like, if there was a post-game conference of him, that didn't seem very Andy Reid like with Mahomes, to not go there, even, at that spot.
I watched the Chiefs on Monday Night Football against Washington, and I'm like, you know what? I think Andy's finally figured this out. Like, he's finally being aggressive, going for it on fourth downs. There was even a funny tweet about it this week. I don't remember who tweeted about it, but it was like shocking in terms of Andy Reid making the correct fourth down decisions. And then, I don't know, I was very surprised that they didn't go. I think it was from the 2 and not the 1. Giovanni, I think you're right in the chat. But ultimately, I think you have to go in that situation with the state of the defense at that point. And I was a little bit surprised there. But you know what? Bills won all the leverage downs, played a really good game. It was a very deserved win from every angle. I mean, KC absolutely 100% the wrong side in that game.
Yeah. Yep, 100%.
Jacksonville, Las Vegas. Man, what an interesting game. Through 3 quarters is 9-6. Neither team is doing much. If you're sitting on the under, you're having a cigar, you're laughing, and then boom, just like offensive explosion late in this game, which is even weirder when you consider like there was no one left on the Jacksonville offense in this game. Like they lost Brian Thomas Jr., they lost De'Ami Brown, they went into the game without Travis Hunter and Tim Patrick. There's like no offensive weapons left for the Jags, and they found a way to move it. I got to tell you though, man, that team, they stink. I am out on the Jags.
You could be saying either team. Which one? Like
they both do. There was somebody sent me a very funny message today. I don't want to say who it was. They might even be in the stream right now, but it was in regards to Geno Smith. I have to find it because it's like they get Brock Bowers back in the lineup. Here it is. Funny. Raiders considerably better with Bowers, but still absolutely terrible. LOL is and that's how I felt. It's like, yeah, they're definitely Bowers is so much of the offense. They're so much better, but Geno still stinks. The O-line is terrible. I think they ran into an opponent in the Jags that, they're missing Devin Lloyd at linebacker today, which is pretty big. They lost another corner, Jordan Lewis, in the game. Obviously, they're without Travis Hunter, who plays defense as well, Eric Murray. I think a lot of things went right for the Raiders just to go to overtime and lose on a 2-point conversion attempt.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at like the EPA per play for Geno, and it would look like he had a good game. And that would not be true if you watch the first 3 quarters. And were you surprised that Pete Carroll went for 2?
I was surprised because it's Pete Carroll, but yes. I would, with the state of where the Raiders are at right now, record-wise, I think I would have went for 2 in that situation.
I mean, same. Because it's Pete Carroll, I was very shocked that that's right. What he decided to do. Like, a tie doesn't do anything for you if you're the Raiders. I get that. But it kind of caught me by surprise.
Yeah, Andrew Christner says in the chat, almost better off losing. If you want to look at it that way from a draft pick perspective, yeah, you could. I mean, it's just a weird game. For most of this game, like, it was so slow. It was run heavy. There were so many empty drives. Jacksonville couldn't get any early down passing going, and then boom, just like the switch hits in the second half, and these offenses open it up. And I just don't I think the first 3 quarters are more indicative of what these offenses are than the fourth quarter of this game.
So a couple of people are like saying Gianti, looks terrible. He doesn't have a great offensive line helping him at all. And, I would not judge him right now based on the situation that he's in.
I agree. I mean, it's hard to look like you have any sort of burst when you're getting hit in the backfield so regularly.
Yeah, I'd have to look at like how many yards before contact he's actually getting like on his rush attempts, but I can't imagine it's very good.
Yeah, and like Jacksonville's rush success rate on defense this year is 32.4%. That is the best in the league. No, second best to Cleveland right now.
I will say this. Next week it's Denver on Thursday night for Survivor. I know how much everybody in the chat loves talking Survivor, but looking for a Raiders meltdown. Just get worse and worse.
Yep. One other game that we haven't gone over, which was Rams and Saints. I honestly don't have much to say on this game. Didn't really have anything going on here. It looks like LA just rolled for most of the afternoon.
They did. I had that one on. Stafford looked really, really good. And, you know, the Saints are the Saints. There's really nothing much to take away. I don't know. I think Shuck has more upside than Rattler, but I mean, it's still the Saints. Kamara can't run the ball. Like, it was bad.
I'm looking at the box score. So the two things pop out to me. First and foremost, the time of possession in this game. The Rams had the ball for almost 44 minutes in this game. 44 minutes to 16 minutes for the Saints. Insane difference there. Obviously, Puka gets hurt. We'll have to monitor his status for next week as well. I see New Orleans average 5.6 yards per play. That number is definitely incredibly misleading because it came on low volume when they were trailing throughout the entire game. So, I mean, I'm going to put more stock into this 32% success rate.
7% rush success rate.
7% rush success rate?
That's right. 8% rush success rate on early downs, negative 0.66 EPA per play. Then they started half of their series with running the ball. Kamara did not have anything today.
You remember when, like, I say we, not as me and you, but like kind of everyone thought the Saints were this feisty team. Like they're.
We both said it too. Like,
I'm not saying I didn't. It's just like it feels so long ago now.
It does. Well, I mean, like you can only stay like that for so long without eventually just feeling defeated. I think it's just a team that doesn't have a lot going for them right now. I wonder if they're going to trade any of their pieces away, and it's not going to get any better for them.
Yeah, it was ugly today. Very interested to see what that line is at Carolina next week. We're going to get into next week's games in just a second. First and foremost, if you haven't smashed that like button on the stream yet, please do so. It goes a long way. It helps us. Obviously, we're down to produce content for you guys as much as possible. If it's helpful, I'm down to do it. But also want to grow the audience as best as possible. So if you could help us do that, it starts with just smashing that like button, leaving comments. If you're watching this after the fact, any comments are appreciated. And of course, none of this would be possible without our sponsors at Fanduel. Fanduel is changing the way you bet football, and it starts with Next Drive SGPs. You can bet what's happening on the next drive. Will it end in a touchdown, a punt, a field goal? These are the props we love when we do these live watch-alongs here on Forward Progress. You can build your bet exactly how you want it. FanDuel's enhanced quick betting experience makes it easy to find live bets fast, build SGPs in real time, and see the player stats that you need. And every NFL game day comes with a profit boost you can use on your next drive SGP so you can get more out of every play. Visit fanduel.com/forwardprogress to download the app today and bet the next drive your way. Please play responsibly. You must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, 18 plus and present in DC, 19 plus and physically located in Ontario, 18 plus Kentucky or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. 1-877-HOPE-NY in New York or text HOPE-NY in New York. Paid endorsement, call Connects Ontario, 1-866-531-2600 or visit connectsontario.ca. All right. Let's get back into it here. Ecolt says, we love Fandizzle. Appreciate that, Ecolt. Show some love for the sponsors. It always goes a long way. And I don't promote products I don't use or products that I don't believe are very good. I think FanDuel is a really, really, really good book out there. All right. Quick recap of last week. We always like to be fully transparent on this show. There was no individual plays for me and Clive last week. There was just 2 plays that we agreed on. In hindsight, I got to say it. I know we won really comfortably with Bears and Bengals. That was a very bad read. I missed the Flacco shoulder. I remember Flacco leaving the game last week with the shoulder injury, but I didn't make a note of it. There was really no reason to play that early. And I'm glad we got the win. That one was kind of crap. San Fran, New York Giants, a little bit of like later steam today towards the under. Again, I don't get it. We ended up getting a good number, got a win there as well, a rather easy win. So overall, when me and Clive agree this year, 12-7 plus 4.25 units, our CLV strong at 1.26%, no VIG CLV. And dating back to last year, Clive, when we agree, things go really well. So I'm hoping we find some agreements here.
I don't understand the line movement, to be honest, though, in the Giants 49ers, the over, because it went up early in the week and then just slowly kept coming back down. Like, I don't think it wasn't a weather issue, nothing like that. So that was another line move steam that I just didn't get this week.
Listen, on a weekly basis, I always scratch my head at certain things that I don't understand. Like, I understand why it's happening. Someone is betting it I get it. I just don't see the same things. And the things that I'm doing when I'm modeling, I think I priced San Fran into Giants. I don't remember the exact number that was on the Pizza Buffet graphic this morning, but it was around like 49.5. I guess, yeah, San Fran can play slow. They're a run-heavy team. I just thought they were going to have a lot of success, and they did, 52% success rate. So we move on to this week. We're going to start on Thursday Night Football, AFC West matchup. The Denver Broncos are hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. So the early line at FanDuel here, -9.5 flat, 42.5 is the total. It's pretty consistent across market, I would say. See some 42s and some 9s, but pretty consistently right around this price. Of note in this game, let's take a quick look at injuries from today. Las Vegas, clean, I think. I don't think there was anything new with Las Vegas, and same with Denver. I think both of these teams got out pretty scot-free from this game today. So I have a few thoughts here. Yeah. That's my first.
Yeah. Yep. That's a big one for me. Like that instant. I'm not going to say that I've in my head automatically priced in what a Thursday night game means after a full overtime or anything like that.
I'm glad you brought that up because that spot will be mentioned, and I'm sure it's happened. I'm not a trends better or like a small sample size guy. Do I think that playing an extra full quarter of football on Sunday might affect the team for Thursday? There's probably some impact there, but I would guess it would be minimal. I can't say for certain. Again, these things happen so infrequently that we're going to be doing some educated guesses here, right? But ultimately, it does feel a little bit too high. With this Raiders O-line is very bad. And I know Pat Surtain is going to be out again for the Broncos, but like the Raiders don't have wide receivers that are going to exploit that. You know what I'm saying? And
you took the point that I was going to make. Absolutely. So like this, I think ends up through the 42 and probably ends up around, somebody put in chat, Equal put in chat 41, but I think that's probably reasonable. I think 41.5 seems like the minimum unless something outlandish happens.
Yeah. So Raiders defense, I see your comment, Dan Rivera, in the chat. It's not good, but it's better with Crosby on the field. He can at least cause some havoc. I will definitely say that, Bo Nix does make a habit of beating up on these types of teams and these types of defenses. And my first thought when just seeing the matchups and not the lines this week was, I hope there's a scenario where I can play Denver here. I don't know that there is, like, I don't know that I want this price with Denver since they're so offensively challenged, but it is a terrible spot for Las Vegas. I mean, to me, this is a tough game, and I think you're right, Clive. I think the under is probably the way to go here.
Yeah, I don't have any good feeling on the spread at that price at all. But I do think under's the best look on the board right now for
All
this
right.
game.
That one's starting to steam a little bit in real time, as a lot of them do. If there was ever an advertisement for why you should watch the show live on Sunday nights, that would be it. Listen, it's not a huge market. It's not like we're patting ourselves on the back that that's the problem. And getting this stuff is somewhat important. I guess you maybe have a little bit more conviction than me. I'm so worried about the Raiders short week, that type of scenario here, but we'll go with it. TX Supreme says, is Denver the worst 6-2 team? Denver stinks.
Their offense, their quarterback stinks.
Yeah. Denver is not a Super Bowl contender. Let me just put it at that. They might win the AFC West.
Them in the playoffs. I can't wait.
Yeah. They might win the AFC West. But they're not good. Denver is a Super Bowl contender if they have a league average quarterback. And unfortunately for them, they have a well below average quarterback. I
don't know. I don't remember if I mentioned this last week. Like, one of the early, preseason preview things that we did of, like, who do we expect to surprise or who do we see upside with? Denver was the team that I picked. It was under the guise of, all right, maybe Bo Nix takes a step forward and does a little bit more than just beat up prevent defenses at the end of the year last year. And he hasn't. So they're fucked.
Yep. Agreed. Okay. Our next stop is, looks like in Germany, where the Colts are taking on the Falcons. So this one is in Berlin. We'll talk about the stadium in 1 second here, but the current market is 6.5. Colts minus 6.5 across the board. Total in the game, 48.5. That's juiced slightly to the under at Fanduel. This is being played at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. So this is like one of those hybrid grass, reinforced with synthetic fiber type of turfs. Probably like a little bit better than natural grass, but also a slower track. It's also not a full dome. This has exposure to the outside. The seats are covered, but the field is not. It will be fairly cold for this game in Germany at this point in the year. So that's something of note as well, that temperature will be a little bit colder. Atlanta today lost 2 offensive linemen, both guards, Matthew Bergeron and Chris Lindstrom. There's been no updates after the game, but Matthew Bergeron did say that he thinks he's good for next week, whatever that means. Players lie all the time. Leonard Floyd, edge for Atlanta, also left the game. Indy, nothing new here. So this is my debate, inner thoughts on this game, Clive. I think this number's too high on a neutral field. I think 6.5 is a lot on neutral. I have some moderate concern about the Falcons O-line, but I think both guards are more than 50% to play. And I am somewhat interested in buying Atlanta at this price. Not because of anything that, if I threw Indy's result today out the window and I didn't even know that it happened, I still would probably be into Atlanta at this price.
So would the line be better if the Colts were at home as opposed to a neutral field, or how would that work?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Some don't even know this game's being played on a neutral and they're betting it already. But yeah, I mean, that's an inside joke for those that don't know. Yeah, I'm looking at the price. This is steep, man, for a neutral. It's steep.
So do you think that this is a situation too where Atlanta can produce some sort of pass rush again and kind of put Danny Dimes into a little bit of trouble? The spread feels too high. And it's already moved a little bit.
I'm with you there. I mean, they had May under pressure a lot today. Granted, New England does drop back to pass a lot, so there's maybe a little bit of an effect there that's misleading. But that's it pains me. It really does, because I'm a Colts believer, and I don't like the Falcons. I'm just looking at pure price for this, and
Yeah, same here. And I everything in my head, if this was a couple of weeks ago, healthier teams, I'd want to take the over, but right now I can't.
I'm with you. I don't think I have anything on the total here. I actually think this is fair. I think it's fair. Penix does it. He's not deep threat type of guy right now.
No, well, he's not good. And he's going to just keep chucking it up to London. You know,
Yeah.
it's not the worst thing.
I guess the only other thing that could swing the game, because Andrew said, didn't Atlanta lose more players? Not that I'm aware of. And I pride myself on keeping up with these injuries for the most part. Indy could get Samson Ebukam or Tyquan Lewis back on the D-line. They've been thin there for a few weeks. I mean, there's other players that are still at play here. Billy Bowman at corner for Atlanta, who missed this week as well. It's tough, but 6.5 is too much. I think this is going to close less than 6.5.
2 games, 2 agreements.
Yeah. I mean, I don't bet during this show, Clive. When we go off air, I usually spend about an hour afterwards either betting or getting things ready for the morning. I kind of hope this Atlanta number is gone, to be honest with you. Like I think it'll close well, but it might not end well, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I think it'll close well, but we just give you the information and you guys decide what you want to do with it. Cleveland and the New York Giants next up. Both teams coming off of the bye week, and looking at the market at Fanduel is Jets -1.5, -115. Total is 36.5. Now these
move already.
I see. Let's take a quick look. Fanduel opened this 37.5.
All right. Yeah,
Most
looks like it did.
I mean, FanDuel is the lowest number in market. So if you want the over, you bet it at FanDuel here. Most of the market's at Jets -2 as well. My thoughts are that this is just a fine price. Like, I think the Jets and Cleveland are very even teams. 2 of the worst 5 offenses in football. I maybe even make the argument that the Jets offense is better right now, because I don't know. I mean, Dylan Gabriel can't complete a forward pass, man. He can't.
Yeah, if you want the over, reevaluate things, because that call the hotline. This is we normally do this. Like, what number would you need to take on a team, right? Like, what total would you want to feel comfortable with the over? What number?
That's a good question. Honestly, I think this might be too low already.
Okay.
So both teams off of a bye week.
Mm-hmm.
You especially at this time in the season where it's a week 9 bye, you tend to see teams make some pretty significant offensive adjustments. I'm not saying that these are going to be good offenses moving forwards, but you might see some different looks going forwards out of these teams. So like my lean is to the over here, especially at 36.5. Like, that's the lowest price in market. For the side, I mean, look at the Jets before the bye week, right? Tyrod Taylor was out. I just assume Justin Fields is going to start again because he played really well in his last start. But Garrett Wilson missed 2 straight weeks with hip and knee injuries. So we don't know if Garrett Wilson is going to play. Sauce Gardner was out with a concussion. I assume he will be back from a concussion, but there is a probability that he's not. There's other multiple injuries on the Jets defense that are concerning. Cam Jones being one, Jay Tufele on the offensive line, Andre Sisco, I think, went on IR. So it was a pretty beat up Jets team before the bye. I just don't know how this number could be anything different, is kind of what I'm getting at here.
Oh, well, then that's fair. I mean, I can't take the Jets as a favorite seriously, but Dylan Gabriel's pretty terrible too. I mean, the best unit on the field by far is going to be the Cleveland defense, and the two offenses are inept. So this is tough.
I mean, I don't think there's ever a world where the Jets are closing -3. Let's put it that way.
Agreed.
And you know what? I could see Cleveland getting bet. I could see Cleveland taking money.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't have interest in that off the top of my head, but there's some 2.5s out there that are actually already moving, it looks like.
Although, you know what? Like, the more I think about, the more I'm just going to go in circles on this game, because how many times the Jets always take money.
True.
The Jets are like a Sharps darling almost, and they got an inferior opponent this week. I don't know. I don't have much for this game.
Have the Jets been a favorite yet this year? I don't think so.
I doubt it.
Who they play? Pittsburgh, maybe? I don't know.
No, they were small dogs in that game.
Yeah. Nope, they haven't been favored.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is an option that you can bet on it. I don't think we should fire early in the week on this. Next stop is Carolina, where the Panthers are hosting the Saints. Market at Fanduel is Panthers laying 4.5 -120. Most other spots, I mean, there's other 4.5s out there. There's some 5.5. Total in the game is at Fanduel 39.5 -115. This looks like a good price on the over here relative to the rest of the market. Rest of the market is at 40.5. Of note today on the offensive line for New Orleans, they lost their right tackle, Tylese Fuaga. He left with an ankle injury. So that's a second offensive lineman potentially down for them. Carolina also lost Chandler Zavala, who just returned from IR on the O-line. He left with an elbow injury. Damian Lewis left with an oblique injury. Obliques for O-linemen, typically bad. They're already missing their starting center. They already have 2 guards on IR. So O-line issues for both of these teams. And my first inclination, Clive, to be honest, was I like under, but then I saw the number and I'm like, I don't think I could bet the under at this number.
No, me neither. I'm actually leaning towards the over at this number just a little bit.
I can't quite get there, and I won't stop you from going that route if you want to lock it in yourself.
No, listen, I'm more than happy to go out on a limb on my own, but if you're gun to my head, I think it would be an over, but I don't love it.
Well, I saw the look ahead for this one. It was 42.5. And I was thinking, I'm like, wow, I'm hoping this is still sub 41, above 41, or maybe 41. And I would be interested in the under, but it's not. And I kind of feel like it's gone a little bit too far at this point, which sucks because I think that there's some injury asymmetry here, or at least the possibility that these O-lines are in shambles this week. But it is what it is. The market's the market.
Do you have any feeling on the spread?
Yeah. So I was hoping that we could just bypass that.
Fair.
Because I mean this is a Saints number, right? Like this, when I say it's a Saints number, I mean the Panthers are laying 5.5 without an O-line, and they don't really have a functional offense, right? They run the ball, they can't create explosives. I think this is going to close less than 5.5.
I agree.
So I'll say this, and this is someone who does respect the market, and I put a lot of stock into it. 5.5 Saints, I think, is probably a good number. But George, great point in the chat. Great point. Tough to bet teams that could sell on deadline week. That's certainly possible. Like, you don't have to chase this now. Rashid Shaheed could get dealt, right? That all matters. But this is there's no way I'm clicking Panthers at this price. Like 0%.
No, this is not an early bet at all.
Yeah. All right. G-Stack comes in the clutch. Hope he didn't get... I see a lot of oh-no's in the chat. Did I miss a joke or something? There's got to be some sort of run-in joke that I missed. Lots of oh no's. I think it's just because I said that the Saints are like, I think people knew where this was going.
Yeah, fair.
God, that's painful. All right.
It is painful.
Yeah. Bills at Dolphins is our next stop. Current market, Bills -9.5, -05 at Fanduel. Total in the game at Fanduel is 50.5, juiced towards the under. Okay. Miami's on extra rest, having played Thursday night football. I thought the Thursday night football game was like a little bit misleading. They lost 28-6. I think it was closer than that, personally. Just a lot of Dolphins shit that happened in that game. Chop Robinson left on the D-line with a concussion. The Dolphins may be sellers this week as well. Rasul Douglas at corner left this week. I mean, the cornerback situation's been a disaster for them. For Buffalo, just more injuries on defense. Michael Hoyt, another defensive lineman, tears his Achilles, out for the season. Teron Johnson ended up not playing this week, and he was like popped up on the injury report late. So who knows what's going on there. Buffalo seemed to not matter. But here's where I'm at, Clive. I think 50.5 is a fair total, but I think that there's a lot of spots out there that are 49s, 49.5 right now. And I think I like the over at those prices.
We're kind of on the opposite ends here.
Okay.
Again, not knowing what the roster completely is going to look like, this is something I would wait on, but I'm actually more leaning under than over here.
I like when we have disagreement. It's pretty rare, but it's healthy.
It is rare.
It's healthy. Okay, so I'm just looking at like really raw numbers that I have going into the week. Would have made it 50.5 going into this week. Advanced line 50.5. Defensive line, corner issues for Buffalo. Defensive line, corner issues for Miami. Listen, I'm going to actually sim this at some point over tomorrow, and I'll have a real number. I cannot see my true number having a 4 in front of it.
So part of the reason why I do think this is because of the way that I think this game will get coached if there's any kind of significant lead. And Buffalo wants to run the ball anyway. Like, I think that's part of it. And I do think that this game could get out of hand if the Bills' defense is even just marginal. I could see Miami having a hard time scoring a little bit. And I think that's where a little bit of our difference probably lies. It's not in terms of what EPAs per play look like in expectation. It's how I think the game state's going to be.
Yeah, and I will say that for Buffalo, they are kind of like a sneaky under team, I would say, when you just look at their box scores from this year. Efficiency-wise, they're solid, but a lot of the plays are on the ground, to your point. With that said, I liked Miami's offense the first time they matched up with Buffalo this year. I thought they moved the ball fairly well. That was, I think, a Thursday night football game. AC Thomas says Buffalo will close greater than 10. I don't think so. I really don't think so. That's not to say that they won't win. And I guess, listen, it depends on what Miami does this week here as well. They could just be complete sellers. They could sell Jalen Waddle if something like that happens. But I don't know that they will close above 10. I think that's got to be a buy point. When you look at the way that these teams have been priced this year, I mean, there's not been a single week where I think Buffalo would. This is the highest. This is the largest gap between the two teams all year.
What was the look ahead for the spread? Was it 8.5?
8.5, yeah. So not a big adjustment, but I don't think there would. Again, this would be a peak situation where either the Dolphins are at their lowest in market or the Bills are at their highest. Okay, I mean, we'll just listen. We disagree on the total.
Yeah.
And
but again, this is not something that I would be betting today either.
No, same thing. Yeah. A Waddle trade, no thanks. I have no more interest in the over. It's pretty funny because as we were talking about it, the chat was pretty split on that as well. You got some Team Clive, you got some Team Pizza.
Fanduel's bouncing back and forth.
Yep. All right. more games to get to. Jacksonville, Houston is our next stop in the AFC South. Let's see. We do have a FanDuel line here, which is nice.
I was hoping for a bigger number on the total.
Oh, so was I. Okay, let's talk this through. Texans -1.5, -05. Totals 38.5. So we don't know if CJ Stroud is going to play. Concussion, you just never know. It looked like a bad one. He was out on the field. He ended up walking off. He didn't get carted off or anything, but he was out on the field.
I thought he got hit in the head at first, and he didn't.
He didn't. It was his head snapping back and hitting the ground. Yeah. He left, as did 2 offensive linemen. Titus Howard, right tackle. Ed Ingram, right guard. They already don't have a good O-line. They can't afford losing starters. Jacksonville, as mentioned earlier, I don't even know who they have left at receiver right now. It's pretty dire. Like I actually literally don't know who finished the game for them at receiver today. Parker Washington for sure. Tim Jones, Austin Trammell. Like they're going to be signing practice squad players potentially this week. If this ends up being Davis Mills, like I cannot click the under fast enough.
And there's some better numbers out there right now.
I know. Yep.
What I just don't. This would be an interesting thing to kind of look at in terms of injuries and how quick somebody comes back from a concussion on more of a head-to-head hit as opposed to kind of what happened to him with like the whiplash part of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
it didn't look good though.
Jamil says, if Stroud is confirmed out, do Jags close as favorite? I think so.
I agree.
I think they will. This is a really hard read early in the week. I don't like this looks cheap on Houston, even with Mills. I don't know about that. He was atrocious today. I mean, and behind that
O-line, atrocious in his career. Like,
and at least Stroud gives you like a little bit of mobility as well. Behind that O-line, oh my God, man. Like, I don't rate Jacksonville very highly. I don't know where the offense is coming from in this game. I really don't. It is a little fuck.
Jacksonville's going to struggle too, I think, against that defense.
Did it open here? No, man. Like, oh yeah, it did. It reopened 38.5. It was 41.5 when it went offline this morning. Damn. I still have a strong feeling that this total is going to close lower than this because I do think it's going to be Davis Mills.
That's my best guess.
Cottage says 2 O-line were hurt for Houston. They come back and they did not return to the game. We don't have a status update yet. Come back to this one. It's not as widely available, but I mean the 39.5s that are out there. I think those are okay. Yeah, I think those are going to be solid. I mean, all right. Ravens at Vikings is our next stop. Ravens on a little bit of extra rest off of Thursday Night Football. Vikings, obviously, the upset win today. Current market at FanDuel, Ravens laying 3.5 on the road. Total in the game, 46.5. Juiced towards the over. Most other books, 47. Again, FanDuel doesn't do whole numbers. Their totals are always to a half, so there's no pushes on totals. This number is pretty consistent across the market at 3.5. One sharp book, a couple of them are heavily shaded towards Minnesota.
You watched the Thursday game, as did I.
Yep.
Do you think Lamar had 100% use of his legs as if he would normally have?
Definitely not.
I didn't think he looked explosive at all.
No, but it's a 10-day difference to this game,
It
right?
is.
He didn't. There was one run where he took off and he looked slow, like he couldn't push it. That's my biggest concern because
Flores sending blitzes, running, injury.
I think that directionally I like the Ravens in this game.
I would agree with that.
Okay. I just don't know that this is the buy spot. So one thing I'm definitely looking at this moment in time is where are the sharp books shaded towards, which is Minnesota. And it could get tricky with market timing on this game. But the one element that Goff does not give you when you are blitzing him into oblivion and getting home is mobility. He's just a sitting duck in the pocket. So I like the Vikings defense at full strength. I think that they can do a lot of things that will disrupt any team. But ultimately, I like that Lamar is a little bit more mobile in this game. We're looking at both teams kind of like at full health right now. I mean, the real injuries are players who are on IR. Baltimore's kind of thin on the D-line. Minnesota, they lost Aaron Jones today. He could play in week 10. I think they said it was an AC joint injury in the shoulder. But my biggest lean here is towards Baltimore. I know a lot of people in the chat immediately were pushing over. And I can see that. I would much rather bet the over than the under in this game. In fact, like it's probably closing above 47 are my thoughts. But I'm not there on the over. I think I prefer the Ravens.
So I would say the same. My concern is the Vikings holding up their end of an over if you play it.
Yeah.
I really, of what I saw of JJ McCarthy again, I did not see anything that was particularly encouraging, and I don't think he'll hold up his end.
Right. I go back to, let's say, week 2. Listen, a lot's happened since week 2. But if you compare the market ratings on the teams in week 2, when Ravens were fairly healthy, let's say, with Lamar, and Minnesota still had JJ there, at that week, the Baltimore would have been priced as a 5-point favorite in this game. I think we're going to kind of slowly get towards there.
Yeah, I think that's closer to reality. If Lamar was completely healthy, like without coming off of a hamstring injury, like this would be an auto click. And you know what? To be honest, I think it's still probably a click at 3.5.
So do I.
So I'm in.
All right, I'm in agreement. I like Baltimore here. A little bit of extra time for Lamar to settle in. Ravens. Okay.
There's some slightly better numbers out there too.
Yeah, there is. Like, I mean, listen, at this point, I listen, I try every single Sunday. If FanDuel's got a great number, I'll tell you guys that. Yeah. And, price sensitivity is important when you're betting here in the early going. I'm looking forward to this one. Bucks off the bye hosting the Patriots. Early market on this one. Tampa Bay -2.5, -110. Total 48.5, juice towards the under. So the rest of the market is at 48. There's not a lot of discrepancies in price here. Pretty much every book offering the same prices in this game. New England loses Kayshon Boutte today at wide receiver. He had a hamstring injury. Those are always concerning for wide receivers. Christian Ellis at linebacker, who I think is a pretty underrated player, left this game with a hip injury. Christian Gonzalez also went through a concussion check. Now, I watched his post game and they asked him about that. And he said, I'll be good to go next week. And someone then said, does that mean you passed concussion protocol? And he responded by saying, I'll be good to go next week, which doesn't leave us with a lot of information to go on with that. And on the Tampa Bay side of things, I mean, the injury list prior to the bye week for them was quite long. You potentially have Bucky Irving back. I don't know about Chris Godwin. Luke Haggard probably back on the offensive line. Maybe Hassan Reddick back on defense. So there's a lot of moving parts here, Clive. And this pits two of our favorite quarterbacks up against one another.
I kind of like the over here.
Okay. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
This is not something I would bet today, though, and here's why. For all of the injury information that you just mentioned, like a lot of that is very key offensive lineman, Bucky Irving, all of that. I don't know if does this get to a full 3 ever?
No. Maybe like Tampa's off a bye week. New England's kind of bounced back and forth in the last few weeks in terms of, I think there's differing opinions on them in market. I want to say the same with Tampa. I think I directionally agree with you on the over. I don't know that there's a lot of room here, but I could see this tick up to 49 potentially with all these 48s that are in market right now. You got two players that love to throw downfield. You want to attack the Patriots through the air. You want to attack the Bucs through the air. Both these teams can stop the run. Like, I feel like it's going to be a very pass-heavy script from both of these teams.
I do too. I think that's just the way it's going to run.
All right. I will choose to agree that 48's a little bit too low. I concur.
I am looking forward to this game.
So am I. I'll tell you, it could be 13-10 going into the fourth quarter, and I'll still feel like the over is very live at that point.
Can New England land a wide receiver this week?
They could. That's definitely on the table. I mean, could they get integrated into the offense that quickly? Probably limited snap count, something like that, but it's certainly possible.
I was thinking more just for the full season, just in terms of making the team a little bit stronger.
Yeah. What do you make of the side in this game?
I feel like I'm at the market's at kind of peak New England price. Yeah. And I don't know that I agree with that anymore. Like, this isn't like, Drake May's due for a bad game kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of maybe just a step up in who they're playing. And I'm leaning Tampa Bay.
Okay. I don't really have a strong opinion.
Otherwise.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here thinking I'd love to get like a flat 3 with New England. I kind of hope there's support for Tampa Bay here. Even when the Bucs were winning early in the year, there's lots of close games for the Bucs. They play tight. All right.
I mean, the Tampa Bay Seattle shootout game was fun. I just don't know if this goes that way. If the game goes blowout one way or the other in a direction, would you think it's way more likely to be Tampa Bay?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I mean, the Patriots the problem is the Patriots have played like one good team this year, the Bills, and they won on the road in that game.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more path to success for New England to win by margin than Tampa.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because they have I don't know. I don't want to pick between. I think New England has the better quarterback, but
I'd rather have May than Baker.
Yep. Giants at Chicago. I mean, listen, it's a game on the board, and we can bet it. The Bears are -3.5, -05. 48.5 is the total in this game at Fanduel. Some spots at 49, but it is pretty consistent 3.5 across the board in this game. Of note, I think there was a lot of injuries on the Giants side today. Okay, they lost their center, John Michael Schmitz, shin injury. They were already down their right tackle, Jermaine Illuminor. So that's potentially 2 O-linemen down next week. They went into the game with such bad injuries at corner. And like Paulson Adebo, he didn't practice again this week. Cordale Flott, he had a concussion. So there's a possibility he comes back next week. Maybe Javon Holland too. There's possibility for improvement there. On the Bears side, Cole Kmet, concussion. I wouldn't say that's a huge loss. Lost another defensive lineman. More injuries in the secondary. Josh Blackwell, CJ Gardner-Johnson, both left the game as well. So here's the problem I have. Both of these teams, in my opinion, profile right now as over teams.
Mm-hmm.
You would agree with that.
But
here's the problem I have. I've pulled up a forecast for next Sunday in Chicago. And I get it. We're a week out and all this can change. But it's not looking good. All right. We're looking at temperatures upper 30s, cold, not too cold just yet, but 20 plus mile an hour winds. And you never know in Chicago. So this to me is the main weather game right now. Doesn't mean it's going to be bad. This fluctuates all the time. You never know. But if it turns into one of those where deep passing is kind of out of the question or is limited, I definitely wouldn't want the over at this number. So I'm kind of torn. I'm at the in-between phase right now where I just want more information on the game.
I get that. Here's where I do struggle a little bit. Giants Niners closed at 47.5 to 48, right?
Yep.
Would you say that the 49ers offense is significantly better than the Bears offense?
So I would say I like the 49ers offense better from an efficiency perspective, but I like the Bears offense, their ability to create big plays.
Okay. And how many of those big plays today from the 49ers were huge chunk plays, throwing it down the field versus underneath stuff?
I think the biggest plays were to McCaffrey out of the backfield where he turned it into some yak. If Marcus Erickson's in the chat, he's a big 49ers fan, so he'll be able to fill us in. But McCaffrey had a 39-yard pass. Other than that, the long in the game was 21.
Yeah, average depth of target, 6 yards for Mac Jones.
Yep.
I have no faith in Caleb Williams. Maybe this is me being just a jaded Bears fan. I think everything in my head makes me want to say the over should be the right way to go, but
Yep, 100%. If this is clean weather, this total is low in my opinion. The both of these defenses right now, and I know the Giants at least can generate some pressure. I get that. Brian Burns, has had a lot of sacks this year, but their back end is a disaster right now. They have no corners. They can't. I mean, you want to pick a team where you need corners like Rome Odunze, DJ Moore. These are guys that win on the outside. So, I listen. I don't really know what to do. I guess just wait for more information on this one at this point as well.
This is not going to surprise me if later in the week I want to take the Giants if 3.5s are still out there.
Yeah, they suck, man. Both these teams suck, though. I got to remember that the Bears are also dismal.
Yeah.
Dismal.
Interesting.
I mean, the Bears almost just lost to the Bengals.
Yeah.
Oof. It's just really weird to see that price tag in front of them, but I don't think I could come back on the Giants just yet. All right, let's see what's up next here. Arizona, Seattle. Do we have a market for that? We do. A small market. Seattle -6.5, -115, 44.5. We always talk about these games, but a reminder, Arizona will be playing Monday Night Football against the Cowboys tomorrow night, and this is not open in a lot of spots right now. In fact, Fanduel is one of very few that have a number on this game. I mean,
that total seems super low to you.
Yeah, it seems a little bit low to me. It does. Yeah. 44.5, I think, is low. Seattle's offense is a juggernaut, like a absolute. They had no receivers tonight against, granted, that's Washington. Commanders, and the Commanders lost Trey Amos in the game. Even Marshawn Lattimore, who's completely washed, but they don't have corners. But the Seahawks offense is a juggernaut, and they create so many big plays. No Cooper Kupp, no Jake Bobo. Guess what? Torrey Horton, Elijah Arroyo at tight end.
It's just it's JSN's world. Like he is so good. All right. Well, the number already moved, so there you go.
Yeah, I agree with you on this one. We'll see how Arizona plays out tomorrow night. And then what happens next week from a Kyler versus Brissett starting. But good shout out on that one. That was definitely low. We don't count those to the official record just for not widely available. Got to be widely available.
I'm guessing the next game's probably off the board.
Detroit, Washington. We got a number. So for those that don't know, right as myself and Clive were coming on air tonight, Jaden Daniels broke his arm. It was pretty nasty injury. He's out. I can confidently say he's going to be out for probably the remainder of the year. So this is a Marcus Mariota number. That's not the only injuries for Washington. They were already without Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown. Luke McCaffrey got hurt on the first play of the game, bringing back a kickoff return, left with a shoulder injury. So receivers thin. I mentioned Trey Amos, Marshawn Lattimore. That the secondary is very bad with Jonathan Jones, Will Harris on IR as well. So Washington is pretty decimated. Detroit lost their starting left guard, Christian Mahogany, knee injury. Sounds bad from what the team is saying. They lost Tate Ratledge, right guard. They lost Taylor Decker, left tackle, to a knee injury. Different injury. He was hurt his shoulder earlier in the year. So you have some substantial injury impacts for both of these teams. I have no
Given
clue.
all of those injuries, I don't understand how this total could be this high. Outdoors in Washington, Marcus Mariota, offensive line injuries for the Lions. This even still seems rough. Now, clicking an under on a team of Detroit Lions offensive ability against the Commanders is kind of rough too, but this is like this feels like a hold your nose thing. This is not something I would bet this second, but that's kind of just where my head's going.
I think just based off of the number, I have to agree with you as much as
it fucking sucks.
Washington's defense is very bad. It's very bad. I mean, the pressure rates that they were sustaining earlier in the year have kind of dropped off now unless they send pressure. They cannot, additional pressure, in the form of blitzing. They cannot do that anymore because they have no corners. They have no one on the back end. Seattle just diced them up tonight. They moved it like Swiss cheese. I really wish Detroit's O-line didn't have these injuries because I would like to continue. Who's betting Washington in market, by the way? Can we talk about that every week? They got bet this week. They got bet last week against Kansas City on Monday Night Football. Where is this Washington love coming from?
I don't know if somebody's model screwed up with Commanders data from last year, but has anybody seen the same thing from the Commanders offense this year as they did last year? Like anything near it? No.
No, that's a bad.
I think it's just the market's not adjusting the small sample of priors that they have from last year. That's just my interpretation. Those have been line moves that I didn't get. I didn't get the line move honestly against the Chiefs on Monday night either.
Yeah.
I know some sharp people played the Commanders. It wasn't for me.
Yeah. Say what again? Says look ahead was Detroit -3.5, 51.5. Interesting that side got adjusted 5 points, but total 1. So side moves through 7, through 6, through 7. Total was 49.5? Look ahead? Or what was he saying here?
No, he's saying look ahead was
51.5. So it came down 1 point.
And that's just at FanDuel. There's still some 51.5s out there in other spots. Mm-hmm. If those lines are up, if my odd screen is accurate.
Yeah. I think you're right, Kirk. Clive. I think you're right, Clive. Sorry, thinking I'm in circle back mode already on Monday here. As much as it pains me, I think you're right, and that the total is a little bit too high.
Yeah. Not widely available, Durso. Thank you. Bixby.
Yeah. We have a very good producer behind the scenes that's been tracking us for years in Caustic, and he definitely won't let us track something that is not widely available. So you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, there's very few spots, and 50.5 does seem a little bit high. All right, let's keep going here and finish off the rest of the slate. Rams and 49ers. This one is in Santa Clara. LA Rams -3.5, -110 away from home. Total is 49.5 in this one, Clive. Rams side of things, the injury is to Puka Nacua, chest injury. It sounded like they were optimistic after the game that he wouldn't miss time, but who knows? This is the NFL. San Fran loses another defensive lineman, rookie, to an ACL injury. He's on IR for the season. I don't think Yetur Gross-Matos will be back because he was DNP Friday. Bryce Huff, hamstring injury, 3 times DNP this week. I don't think he'll be back. So it's very, very, very thin defensive line for San Fran. I've buried the lead, though. This is likely shaping up to be the Brock Purdy return game.
Mm-hmm.
What are we thinking here?
I don't have a good grasp on the 49ers. It seems like they're beating up on shitty defenses, and this is kind of like a step up in class where regardless of if Purdy's playing or not, that they're going to have to kind of perform.
Yeah, I agree
Rams
with you.
game. I'm trying to get that first Rams game out of my head.
So am I. I was going there right now. I don't know what the hell the Rams did in that game, but they defensively, they just gave Mac Jones every single easy completion. So there's multiple talking points here. As it stands now, I think this total is a little bit high at 49.5, especially with the injury uncertainty to Puka. Not that I'm sure it matters all that much because I think the Rams can run the ball on this 49ers front. But I don't know that the 49ers create enough explosives to justify this type of total. That's my first thought. The second one is exactly what Marcus summed up here in the chat, where he said, even though it's already adjusted for Purdy being back, when Purdy is announced in, there will be a buy on San Fran. That's where we bet the Rams.
Yeah.
I want to have the Rams in this game. I just don't know in terms of timing. And I think that makes a lot of sense there, where you might get a jump when Purdy's announced in, and then that's the time to buy the Rams.
Yeah, and that's the whole, timing the market matters, right? And like trying to understand what kind of news is going to come and what might influence. Like, I don't think this goes out. Even if this goes out to 4 and Purdy comes back and he's announced in, that gives you time to buy back. I would not be betting the Rams this second.
Yeah, I just love the matchup advantages in this game. Although that first game is still wired in my head, that Thursday night football game.
If the Niners can't get pressure on Stafford, even without Nacua, I do think the Niners get carved up pretty badly.
Yeah. Jameel says, doubt this is going to 4 even with Max starting. He asked it as a question. I don't. I think if Max starts, this is going to go to 4. That's the way that these teams have been priced in market for the past few weeks now. And yeah, I guess you got the Nacua side of things for sure, but San Fran just keeps losing defensive players as well, and that matters. I don't know. So I think this is a wait and see.
Yeah.
I think this is a wait and see. I'm trying to price the injury stuff in my head right now. but it's pretty challenging to do so. I mean, I'm staring at some totals of 50.5, and I feel like those are good underplays.
I think so too.
Okay. Sunday Night Football next week is the Steelers at the Chargers. Current market, Chargers -3, -118. Total 45.5. Juiced towards the under. From an injury standpoint, plenty to talk about. Pittsburgh left guard Isaac Seumalo left the game with a pec injury. His status will be in doubt for next week. They were also missing several safeties. Chuck Clark will probably be back. He was out with an illness, so they get a little bit of depth there. The Chargers lose Joe Alt, high ankle, looked bad, almost certainly out next week. They lose their right tackle, Bobby Hart, to multiple injuries. I think he had an ankle injury, came back in the game, and then got a groin injury as well.
Time
so
to retire.
We're back to, listen, Bobby Hart, like they basically just pulled this guy off the street to play. He was on the practice squad forever. We've seen the Chargers, this iteration of the Chargers with no O-line, and it's not good. This is also a game that's going to be dominated by Steelers fans. Just also want to point that out. Is primetime Sunday Night Football. Steelers fans travel very well. That's also something to keep in mind.
I kind of like under 45.5.
Bingo. Let's do it. That's exactly where I was going with this as well. The offense, Timothy just said it. Offense is night and day without Alt. The Steelers seem to have some sort of semblance of a pass rush again. The Chargers might have to go silent count at home. I am concerned about that Pittsburgh secondary for sure, but I think this total is too high. And I also I'm kind of getting the vibe that this Steelers offense is getting figured out a little bit as well.
Same. That's right too. So it's two confounding factors. It's that where maybe they're just not going to allow all the underneath shit over and over and over and over again. And the offensive line injuries for the Chargers. Now that we say this, Steelers voodoo is going to come in heavy with TJ Watt sack fumble 6 and like a punt return and all the other bullshit. But yeah, I still think under is the right number.
And I think the Chargers defense is much improved now. I mean, Khalil Mack has been back now for 2 or 3 weeks. Denzel Perriman's been back for a few weeks now. They have legitimate. They can generate pressure again. They have good tackling in the linebacking core. I think 45.5 under is a buy. So I'm with you. That's an agreement on our end on Sunday Night Football.
There we go.
Found an agreement like that. Monday Night Football. Got some good games next week, man. Packers, Eagles, Monday Night Football. That's a beauty for me to be on air for. Packers -2.5, -110. Total in the game, 44.5. Juice towards the under. Of note, obviously, some significant injuries on both sides. Now, Philly had the bye week. So I was looking pretty hard today to see if I could find anything with regards to A.J. Brown, Cam Jurgens, Brandon Graham, who they pulled out of retirement, Jacorian Bennett, Adoree Jackson, even Saquon Barkley left the last game with a groin injury, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what the health is of all of these guys, but it's got to be trending upwards to the point where Philly's going to be pretty close to full health. I would guess that Cam Jurgens might be the most likely to miss it, their center, because he had a knee injury. He didn't practice at all prior to the bye week. That's my guess. Green Bay loses Tucker Kraft, ACL, going on IR in all likelihood. Matthew Golden leaves with a shoulder injury. Dontavian Wicks is already out. Jaden Reed is on IR. Suddenly, the Packers receiving core doesn't look so good, Clive. And that's where I'm struggling. That's where I'm struggling here. Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Malik Heath, Savion Williams.
I was very surprised to see like 4 or 5 people in the chat just like spam over like immediately because I didn't see that.
So,
Right. I don't see that.
This could potentially be a second disagreement, I guess. I really want to hold out for a 44, but I agree with the over. I mean, listen, it's pretty mixed in the chat. Like Lido likes under, Arturo likes under. Here's what I'll say. Philly is very good at scoring touchdowns. It's kind of like a hidden edge that they have in terms of points. They get in the red zone, they score. Green Bay, I am mildly concerned about the weapons at wide receiver. That's the only reason that I wouldn't click this immediately. But they can also generate explosives, and they do generate explosives. They didn't today, and I get that.
I think Kraft is a bigger part of that offensive game plan and has been for the last few weeks. That's just one of the things that concerns me. And Golden's obviously, a loss too. I don't know. I just feel like this number is, in all honesty, it's okay. I was just the instant over in the chat was just surprising. Then some people came back with the under.
I mean, FanDuel's got the best price on this over.
They do.
Oh, I sort of like it. I do. I'm also kind of I don't want to say biased, but I put a lot of work into like looking at how teams treat the bye week. Let's put it that way, right? Because I largely believe that the bye week is overrated from a casual handicapper person. I see my friends do this all the time. They're like, "Oh, this team's coming off the bye, like give them an extra half point or 1 point for the," and it just doesn't work that way.
It's very coach centric.
But there is something to offenses that have good personnel that have performed poorly using the bye week to figure it out, especially if it's mid-season.
The Eagles do need that.
I guess I'm a little bit torn on this one. I'm a little bit torn. Side, Green Bay -2.5. What do you think there?
That also kind of just feels right to me. Kind of depends who the Eagles are going to get back this week too. But
yeah,
with the unknowns and everything, it's not something that I am excited about betting either side.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to price. Would agree. All right, we got through every single game on the board. For those that are still in here, and there's looks like over 1,100 of you watching right now. Not sure if you guys are aware, but we do have a very good newsletter that goes out 3 times a week here at the Hammer. So I know a lot of you guys love this show because you get to work through it with us in real time. We see the feedback, we react, we give our thoughts, but we got you covered in other ways. Mondays, you get a full injury report, everything that happened on Sunday, takeaways in the NFL from Suuma. You get early leans plus some NHL thoughts from Alex Moretto as well. Wednesdays, we got the first practice report from every single team. We got some props that are in there as well. Friday, we have Kirk's Hammer. That's Kirk Evans writing about things he's observed as a pro bettor, things in the industry, things that have helped him get better. It's pretty solid. I mean, just look at the chat right now. And honestly, I think the easiest way I could ever promote this is the open rate on that newsletter is 70% as of now. There is a ton of value there. People read it. So you can subscribe now. Never miss a newsletter. The link is down in the description below. Check it out. Join the Discord too, like Kirk says. Oh my God.
Kirk Bixby.
Kirk Bixby, my co-host. Unbelievable. But yeah, check it out. And check out the Discord as well if you're not in there. Discord.gg/hammer. Appreciate everyone who tuned in tonight. For myself, for my partner in crime, Clive Bixby, brother of Kirk. Caustic Arrow behind the scenes is our producer, keeping things running very smoothly, and our presenting sponsor at Fanduel, who you should definitely check out no matter what. I will see you back on air Monday Night Football. Cowboys Cardinals. Join me 8 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. For anyone who hasn't, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. This has been the Sunday Reset here on Forward Progress presented by FanDuel. Peace out, everyone.